Nothing like waking up to another episode of Just Create SMP. And last episode, we got a lot done. And I tell you what, now that we have this factory up and running and we have all of the create basics, we can now start to expand and actually get a roof put on this house. Because there is one thing I'm actually missing a lot of. Resources, building materials specifically. Now there's got to be a way that I can do this and I can gather without using a Minecraft pickaxe, because that's absolutely lame and we're playing with create. So yeah, we have other ways of doing things, right? Right. And so you might know what time it is. That's right. It's time to build ourselves a tunnel bore. And much like our storage system, it's going to require a cart assembler. And, well, we're also going to need to dive into another mechanic, brass. And, well, how exactly do we get brass? Well, we're going to need a blaze burner, and that means we're going to need to press up some ingots, and yet again need to grab ourselves another blaze from a spawner. So yet again, don't mind me, just making my way over here to wherever that spawner's at. Boop. There we go. I mean, did we do this last episode? Oh wait, this isn't my house. Wait a minute, this isn't my house either. Here we go. I thought it was lost for a moment. Now to get the brass up and running, we just need to place the blaze burner underneath the basin. We should be ready to go here. And well, I needed to give it some sort of fuel. And so I can just click some logs on here, and that should build up a timer on the blaze burner. A timer that should be long enough. And I think we can even access the blaze burner from this little corner right here. So I do have a way of getting to it, even with the funnels facing in this way. So to be able to make brass, well, we just need to use zinc and we need to use copper here, and that is going to blend up and it is going to produce all of the materials we are going to need. All of that juicy material, and it should all end up right over here. So what's happening, it's auto dumping it out, and that's going right into the funnel, which is leading right into this barrel here, which is a beautiful way of automating this little thing. Now, like I said, I should be able to reach over here to give it more fuel. There we go, if need be, and that will just kick it back up again. But this is probably going to be way more brass that I'm actually going to want to produce. Like, that's already a lot. I don't want to use all my zinc just yet. I might need it actually for more andesite alloy. Now, one of the primary reasons that I need brass for this particular setup is because of the magical deployer. This is going to be one of the only ways that we can simply place a track down. And because our cart contraption that we're going to use to create a tunnel bore is going to require rails, to move, we need this thing. And we also need more than one of them, right? Because we need one to not only place the rails, but we also need one to place blocks for the rails to go on. Now, I personally would consider the tunnel bore contraption to be one of the most powerful and best contraptions you can make and create, because it would be really painful to try and make all of the other amazing things that you can do with create without simply having this thing. Because as much as I love mining, I would prefer to actually do more building than the actual mining part. Now, I also thankfully had just enough of the rose quartz, and we can throw this on the ground and give this a good sand, or you can definitely put it in your offhand as well. But yes, we need rose quartz, and we're going to need iron to convert this into an electron tube. So now, after making the brass hands, we should now be able to successfully make the two deployers that we really need for the simplest of contraption. Now, after the rails have been placed, to be able to pick up those rails as it continues moving forward, because we don't want to leave tracks laying down, we are going to need a plow, and a plow allows us to pick them up. And then, of course, we need the main component that makes this whole thing work, the drills. And the minimum I think we could use is about 9 of them. I think 9 is a good number, so we can make a nice 3x3. And then as we get more resources, we can easily expand. So now I guess let's go ahead and grab those 9 that we need. So now, perfect. And then of course I'm going to save these for later, as after we just get this 9x9 setup, or the 3x3 setup, I should say, we are going to have plenty of resources. So now with all of the basic pieces needed, I think my favorite part is actually building the tunnel bore and coming up with the design for it. So as of right now, we just simply have our base cart assembler, and the primary layout for this is actually not that complicated. Now, when setting up the tunnel bore, some things that kind of make this a little bit easier is making sure that there is a pre-rail in front of your cart, and also that there is an exit rail on your cart. This will help you out a little bit, and this also kind of gives me an outline of where I need to place my other blocks. For example, the block that is actually going to place the rail. That is just simply going to be a deployer that goes right here. And so you have essentially a block placed here and a block in between. And so the deployer will actually interact with this block space right here. That's where it's going to place the rail. So now that we know that, what we can do is we can go up here, and I like to rotate this. I should be able to click on here to rotate that to give me access to the filter slot. And inside that filter slot is where I'm going to place the rail. So now inside of the contraption, the only thing it'll pull from the storage is the actual rails. The next, we need to make sure there's always a block in case we go into a void or something like that, right? So the next thing we need to do is place a block here and then just place another deployer. But this deployer, it needs to be facing down and needs to be one block lower than the other side. And then on here, we're probably gonna just have it place either deep slate or cobblestone, and you can actually tell it to place both. To do this, we just simply need some iron nuggets, like so, and we need to craft up a regular list filter. And inside the list filter, we can actually drag items straight from the EMI over here. So like cobblestone, for example, is something that we're definitely gonna want. And we probably also want cobble deep slate in case we go mining in that level as well. And so now with that in the filter, we can just place the filter inside of the block placer. And I mean, honestly, it doesn't get any simpler than that. Now, this is the front end. And on the front here, we can simply add our mechanical drills. And let's go ahead and make sure they're rotated the right way. If we place them like this, we can go ahead and just highlight this. And that's how simple it is. Like, there's nothing else to this, really. We need to apply some storage. And then we also just need to set up the block that is going to pick this back up. So these rails, we're gonna need a block to place this on, but we just need to use the plow on the back to pick up the rails. And then we need to make sure it's connected in some way to the total contraption here. But this right here is essentially it. So now that I have the skeleton, well, I can go ahead and start to decorate this and make it actually functional and rideable for me. And so I'm thinking I can actually have a slab right here so that way I could ride the cart from the back, I think. And we can set on a seat here, and then I can use this to spread that across. So right here is where I'm actually going to set. I do also recommend this probably being a trapdoor, because sometimes you have to give your cart a little bit of a push, but I don't think we're gonna have to worry about that too much with the type of cart that we're gonna be using in this case. But if I'm setting on this seat, I'm probably going to want to be able to actually click and interact with the minecart to feed it some coal, because I want to use a furnace minecart for this. And if you didn't know, on contraptions, you can still interact with the trapdoors. So now I think is where things start to get a little bit interesting. I kind of want something like this running down the middle of this. I want belts to look like they're kind of supporting or grabbing the wall. So I need to rotate these on their side, just like this. And then we can have belts running sideways, which seems weird, but I think it's gonna look kind of cool, as it's gonna look like it's sort of grabbing the side of the wall that's pushing us forward. I mean, it's not gonna move or anything, but yeah, decorations, I love it. Now we are gonna need places for our items to be stored, and we can actually place that right here. There's a chest, making sure we can open up that. We can place another chest up top here, getting all of our storage in the front. And just to make sure, while we're riding this, we can still access the chest in case we end up getting coal or something, so that way we can activate our cart down here. So now I think overall, this is looking pretty darn nice. And this is gonna be one of the nicest looking tunnel bores I've made. And not only is it nice looking, it's incredibly functional. If I'm sitting on the seat, I can click the cart still, I can access it, and I can still access these chests up here. And I believe if I'm setting on here, I can still access this. Actually, I can't access the bottom chest, but I can still get out and access them. And I might need to set it up and lower these a little bit. Maybe I'll make these trapdoors as well. But for fixing that, yes, we can now access all of the chests just like this while riding, and I can easily place torches on the outer wall. This is going to be perfect. Now I still have to make the actual minecart. So regular minecart, just like this, but this one's going to have a furnace on top. And that's actually what's going to make this whole contraption kind of work. So down here is where the cart is actually going to be placed. And I mean, we're almost ready to go. I think now I really just need to glue this whole thing together. First and foremost, starting with the drills. And then I think I'm just going to run a line right here just to make sure this is all connected. Then same on the other side. Then drag this all the way over like so. This to the outside. Make sure these are tapped in like this. Just basically gluing everything together and to itself, except for the actual cart assembler and the rails. Don't glue those to the contraption. Now we just want to make sure once it's all glued up to set this to rotation lock for right now, just to sort of test this out. Whenever I give it a redstone signal, this will turn it into a contraption, and we just want to give it a look over and kind of check and make sure everything ended up lifting up off the ground. And you know what? From the looks of it, I think it worked. And now that I know everything is linked up, I should be able to just shift right click the cart, or I can even do it directly from inside here. Shift right click on the cart, pick this up because we really don't even need it anymore. And with that, I think now we are ready to put this thing to a test. How about right here for a test? I think this will be a pretty decent spot. And really the only thing I need to do for this is give it a few rails just so it has a way to kickstart itself. And then I also have rails inside the contraption itself. And then I simply place in the contraption, and we just happen to be underneath the contraption. But now that it's up and rolling, I just need to give it some coal. It's literally it. I right click the cart, and this thing is going to start trucking. Look at that. And we can set on here so that way we don't like get our head trapped or anything like that. And we can actually use torches, and we can place them on the wall, even though this is mining through like this. How cool is that? I mean, we can actually see it placing in blocks if it, for example, goes under a place. And all of our inventory and contents are in here. It's going to start building up. You can see it right there. Oh, this is so nice. So nice. And now I'm essentially not mining myself. Yeah. Now, something I do need to keep in mind, though, lighting the area up. That's going to be a big problem. And also, when this stops working, we know we just need to open this up and give it some more coal. But if it mines coal, it'll actually fuel the cart from the coal that it mines up. As cool as that sounds. And I also have to be careful because mobs could potentially spawn above me, and well, that could lead to some catastrophe as well. Especially if we open up a cave and there just happens to be a creeper up there. So I've now officially used this thing to mine a tunnel all the way outside of this cave. This is pretty cool. And by the way, whenever I want to get off, I just need to shift right click and basically pick up the car contraption. And that is literally it. The tunnel all the way through. So nice. Now you may be wondering, well, with it powered, like, isn't it going to continue working like as soon as I place it down, for example, back at the base? No, actually, it should be just fine. So long as we place it down on the cart assembler when the cart assembler doesn't actually have a redstone signal. So as soon as we place it down, it just physically places it in the world, and then we can go in here. Now it is going to be powered. You can see the cart is powered here, but yeah, we can now take all of our stuff out and we can store it in our main storage. Now that I've made it down into the mines, I really want to start mining at around Y level 0. I think this is going to be a great spot to get a ton of resources because I really want to use deep slate for like my roof and a lot of these other materials, for example, the dripstone blocks and many others we can find at around this level. And we're also going to end up mining into stone as well. Now, I should be able to place our minecart contraption literally in the world right here, and it will actually displace all of the existing blocks around it, like this. Oh, that is so nice. And the ones that it didn't, we can just simply mine up like this. So yeah, it did displace all of those individual components. So all I have to do now is just find a way around and give it a redstone signal to turn it back into its contraption form. So with our redstone signal, there we go. It is now up and ready to rock and roll. So we just need to give it a little bit of coal and off it is to the races. Look at it go. All right, and did it actually stop? That might be something that happens. I'm going to go ahead and pick it back up and then place down the new rails starting about here. I think that's a good place. And yeah, now it will definitely kick off as soon as I close the trap door on myself and give it a boost. And off we go. I mean, honestly, how cool is this? And we can make this thing even larger just by adding more drills. Now, you may be also wondering what happens if we mine into lava. Well, I do take damage and I can die to lava, but thankfully the contraption really doesn't care too much about lava or water. It will go and tunnel right through that. Oh, and just watch how we just completely go through this giant ravine. Oh, and I can come back and loot this thing later. Now, down at this level, I have let this thing run for quite a while, so let's go ahead and pick this thing back up. And when it's in this size, the real power from this contraption literally just comes from all of the resources that we're going to find along the way that are in the walls that we can pick up, or wait till we have fortune to pick up. I mean, all of this. There's so much iron and so much stuff just laying about. And I completely get it. If you're a create expert, this probably seems kind of lame, but to me, it's incredibly powerful. I don't know. It gets even faster too when it's set up on a train in a similar fashion. Trains are just not as easy to, contraption. So now that I have a little bit more resource and look at all that gold up there, we essentially can make more drills, making this process even better. And that will hopefully make this process a little less boring. So I just need about 16 of these drills to make this thing now a 5x5. And that's basically it. And honestly, a 5x5 on this thing is huge, and it's only going to be able to be expanded as we continue. And yep, it's as easy as just simply gluing the whole thing together. And so I think now is time to let this thing do its job, mine some stuff out, and well, see a montage of it. So now, after all of that mining, you would think that I would have a lot more resources, but most of it is actually contained within the walls. And I did actually uncover a little bit of diamond. But honestly, before I want to mine any of that out by hand, I want to try my hand at getting some fortune. That would really help out. But you know what? Now that I've got all of these resources, I think I should probably focus on finishing up the rest of the base. That means it's time to put a roof on this bad boy. And so the roof is done. Well, sort of. There's still a lot of work to be had on the building, as we ended up getting the walls up as well. There's still a lot more that I really want to do to this, but the workshop is really starting to come together. And that roof from here, is looking really good. But I'm honestly pretty happy with today. I ended up getting myself a massive tunnel bore ready to go and to be used anytime I need more materials. And I also got most of the roof finished on the, starter base. But next step is, glass, and that's going to involve a pair of crushing wheels to make that whole process a little bit more streamlined. And it's going to be something we have to work on in the next episode. So I hope you've been enjoying the Just Create SMP, and I really do. I hope you have, and if you have, click that subscribe button if you haven't already, and give this video a huge thumbs up. Now with all of that out of the way, I do want to give a huge thanks to some of the folks that make these videos possible in the first place, and that is Elasted. Thank you so much for your amazing support in choosing to support me over on the Discord by becoming a Discord premium member and supporting me in one of the best ways possible, gaining access to the supporter servers, world downloads, and all kinds of other awesome perks that you get if you become a supporter. So thank you guys. And so now as I leave you guys, just take a look at the ever developing server spawn. There is just so much happening here, and even more to come, including more collaborations, which are going to be happening very, very soon. These are all just us sort of getting our footing, as it does take a large amount of time and effort just having the create mod only. There's a lot of, I'm sweating right now. There is just a lot of things that we have to do all manually, and it all takes a tremendous amount of time. So of course, guys, like I said earlier, be sure to click that subscribe button, and I look forward to seeing you in the next episode. And as always, thanks for watching.